Hi, I'm Reverend Wendy Craig-Purcell here at the Unity Center in San Diego. Thank you so much for watching today. If you'd like to support the work that we do here, please consider making a contribution. Go to our website. It's easy to do. Thank you in advance for that contribution.
There is absolutely no question we are going through a remarkable social experience, like none I think any of us have ever seen before. I've spiritually led through 9/11. I've led through crossing or closing the church because of the Cedar fires jumping Highway 15. I've led through more mass shootings than should ever happen, ever. I've led through racist-inspired riots and violence, and none of that quite prepares one for this. Even 40 years of ministry, and let me tell you, there's no class in ministry that covers anything like this. Nothing quite prepares us, and yet when we experience things in life that we don't feel prepared for, those are the times that we have to dig into what we do know spiritually. And that's what I want to be talking about this morning. I, like many of you probably, have been noticing and paying attention to how others are responding. I have looked, not a whole lot, but a bit on our Unity Ministers discussion group, which is a closed group just for Unity ministers. And my goodness, the range of how our ministers and churches are figuring out their way through this, many of them choosing not to meet at all, some of them choosing to meet, all, I believe, giving all the benefit of the doubt, all coming from a place of prayer and wanting to do and be in service to what can be most healing and helpful at this time. But there's no rule book or instruction book. There's no such thing, I believe, as the perfect right way that fits everyone. As I was looking at some other Facebook posts this morning, I happened to notice that my friend and colleague, and I'm sure some of you visit his church from time to time, Christian Sorensen and I believe, are the only New Thought churches that have decided to be open this morning. And I sent him off a little email, and I just said, it feels really good, brother, to know that you're doing the same thing for the same reason that I am. And he said, and I'm going to tell my congregation that my sister Wendy and her community are doing the same thing as well. I want to talk this morning about what this pandemic is showing us, what this pandemic is calling us to practice, and what this pandemic has the potential to awaken in us. I believe that a huge part of what we are seeing as a result of this pandemic is that it is showing us very clearly that we are one system. We are one system. We are one organism. We are one spiritual family. We breathe the same air. We may be protecting ourselves a little bit more about that right now, but we breathe the same air. We walk the same precious planet. We come from the same stardust. Viruses know no boundaries, right? Viruses know no boundaries. This pandemic is reflecting back to us, not just that we are one system and one human family, but it is also reflecting back to us, it's revealing to us who we are right now as a family, collectively and individually. And I suspect that for many of us in the room this morning, in part we are here because we feel a little different individually, perhaps, than maybe some of the panic of the mass seems to be demonstrating. Am I right at all about that? A little bit at least? This is a time that we are also learning about ourselves. I'll tell you, I've always been a deep thinker, and I'm always willing to do my own work, and I reflect on things, and I ponder on things, and I pray and meditate on things. And as I have watched myself go through this, I am also getting a clearer sense of who is Wendy. Not just who is Wendy the minister, but who is Wendy? What does Wendy really believe, and why does she believe what she believes? And how is she going to show up in this? You know, it's one thing to say we believe in unity's principles. It's another thing to experience a pretty significant testing of the depth of those beliefs in a time like this. Would you not agree? Absolutely. To me, if we want to kind of reflect a little bit or see how we are showing up collectively, have any of you been to Costco in the last few days? Yeah, so I shop on Thursdays. And oh my goodness, you see lines forming before the store even opens, a mad dash to the toilet paper aisle. I think I do not want toilet paper to determine who I am and how I show up. I know it's convenient to have it. And we're not going to lock the church's toilet paper up under key. But we are seeing reflected back to us who we are collectively and individually. I've also seen, wandering through Costco, not trying to buy water and not trying to buy toilet paper, just my ordinary stuff. I have also seen people demonstrate extraordinary kindness, the kind that I remember feeling and seeing after 9/11. When at least then we could hug each other. God, I miss that, right? I miss the physical contact with you. And I do believe that we need to be prudent and pragmatic and take reasonable precautions. I'm in support of that. But I do miss at a time like this when people are struggling so, the chance that's the mom in me, I guess, that just wants to say, come here, let me hold you for a few moments. You see the craziness of what's going on in the stock market, which is reflecting our feelings of panic and fear and confusion and chaos. And so this time is a reflection back for good and for opportunity for healing and growth, where we are collectively as a human family and where we are individually. And in big ways, it's reflecting back to us that some things know no borders, some things can't be kept out by an ocean or a wall or any sort of political structure, that we have to find a different way through. And so I said I wanted to talk to you about what is this pandemic kind of revealing to us? What is it calling us to practice? And that's what I think is so critically important right now. We can practice fear and panic, or we can choose to practice sanity and faith and calmness and kindness and compassion. I believe, as I said a moment ago, that we absolutely need to respond pragmatically to what's going on. We need to be prudent in our actions. That's why we've done the things that we have in super sanitizing areas, in saying, the balcony's open. You can sit as far away from each other as you feel is right, knowing that you will self-select in what is right for you and what perhaps is not. We absolutely can't allow ourselves to be sucked into the energy of fear. Do you agree? I mean, we know that fear compromises our well-being. It always has. It compromises our immune system, not just individually, but it compromises the immune system of the human family. When I was in Costco, it was not just what I was seeing for the most part, it's what I could feel. It's what I could feel. And that, for me, you may feel completely differently, but that for me is of greater concern than the virus itself. Do not hear me say that I don't believe the virus is serious. I do. Do not hear me say that I don't believe we each need to do for ourselves and our families exactly what we feel we need to do. But at the same time, we cannot forget the power of consciousness. We are creating a collective field together. And you and I have the choice to either be part of a field of consciousness that is built on faith and compassion and trust and kindness and calmness that will help us to move through this, or we will be complicit in expanding and amplifying the fear and the panic that we are seeing evidenced in so many places. This field of consciousness is a real thing. It is a real thing. And you and I stand on and in a teaching that has spoken to the truth of this for hundreds of years. Let us not abandon it now. Keep prayed up, do what you need to do, but do not do it from a place of fear and panic. Do not do it from a place of fear and panic. Refuse to buy the items our doctors and nurses must have because fear tells you you just maybe will need them. Refuse to look at those around you with fear in your heart. Refuse to look at those around you with suspicion. Refuse to treat others as obstacles in your way, trying to get your water or toilet paper. Let this be a time that brings out the very best in us, because it can. I believe this is a time that can bring out the best in each and every one of us. Do you believe that? Yes. I was thinking about that very idea yesterday in terms of just how powerful every single individual person in this room is. Sometimes we think, oh, well, I don't have a platform, I don't have a big list or a big following or anything like that, so I'm just this one little person. I don't make a difference. Yes, you do. Every single one of us in this room makes an enormous difference. Know that who you are and how you choose to be and how you choose to show up now and in these next several weeks makes a really big difference. It matters. The conversations you have with family, friends, neighbors, your coworkers matters. The tenor and tone of what you put out on your social media platforms matters. What you say can either help to quell the panic and fear that many are feeling is absolute truth. You can help to quell it, or you can amplify it. You can be the voice of reason and calm and sanity, or you can be one that stirs up the pot and amplifies that which is only going to make matters worse and cannot help. Accept the call to live beyond fear. Take that in for a moment. Accept the call to live beyond fear. You have more in you, as I know I have in me, to accept that call, to do a little bit better than maybe what we did yesterday or last week, and do everything that you possibly can to amplify your own spiritual practice, because it makes a difference now. And thirdly, this time is a powerful social experience in that it has the potential to awaken in us something new and something better. I've been on the phone a lot and held a variety of meetings with various New Thought leaders and colleagues and friends. And one of my dearest colleagues, Dr. Barbara Marks Fields, who Dr. Barbara Fields, who is the executive director of our Association for Global New Thought, put out a beautiful piece, and I encourage you to Google it and find it. Barbara Fields, Association for Global New Thought. She was one who referenced this as a global timeout. Not great? It's a global timeout. It's time for us to kind of step back in a big, big way and to reflect upon what might this be inviting us to step into. For those of us who are told we cannot go to our usual places of work or our classrooms are closed, let this be a time not just of sitting and binging on television, but let it be a time that you ask, if we were to collectively imagine what we could become as a human family, what would that be? And then what is my small part in that? In Barbara's piece, in which she is writing about a global timeout, she includes this towards the end, referencing or renaming the coronavirus, calling it this with a question mark, the crowning virus, question mark. Our way out isn't out but through. It's not magical thinking to take this global time out to consciously imagine what we really want next. In its simplest expression, this begins with clarifying our intention, setting a course, establishing a vision, a mission, and a means to activate it. Our thoughts will result in moments of choice as we take our best guesses at what future is really required or desired if we move forward. This is our right and our responsibility as individuals to the collective. As individuals to the collective. So would you join me in looking at this time as a global timeout? A time to reflect upon what it is teaching us, a time to reflect upon your own deeper discovery of yourself and how you are, and maybe where you've really grown in the way that you meet things spiritually, as well as maybe noticing those places, gosh, Wendy, I've got more work to do right here, but that's okay. If I notice it, I can do the work. Will you join me in that kind of deeper exploration? It's so important right now. In closing, we can't let go of community now, whether it's a very small number of us who choose to join together physically or not. The power of the field, while palpable when we are physically present, is not dependent upon our physical presence, but it is dependent upon our consciousness. And that's what we have to keep high. Our community is more than who we are as we look around in this room physically. It's the many thousands of viewers that we do have on our YouTube channel. It's those who listen online to the audio. So let us use whatever means feels right and appropriate to us to be part of lifting up this field. So what will this time be for you? What will this time be for me? Will it be a time of practicing fear and panic? Or will it be a personal time out to say, hey, I have a voice. Who I am and how I show up matters, even if it's just somebody watching me in line at Costco, or if it is my neighbor or the person I'm talking to next door. Who I am and how I show up really does matter, and I can choose to practice faith. I can choose to practice spiritually. I can choose to be calm. I'll close with this last idea that a friend and colleague of mine shared with me as we were chatting just 2 days ago. His name is Dr. Roger Teal. Hi, Roger. He came up with an acronym for PANIC. Personally amplifying the news into crisis. Don't do that. God bless you.